All right, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. This is the November 21st
Yeah.
Edition.
ish conversation of Perfect Connections. And next week we will not be meeting because it's Thanksgiving. And I was just talking with my husband who is in France right now, and oddly, they don't really do Thanksgiving. I mean, what was interesting when I visited in October is the French have really adopted Halloween. Like there were
Hmm.
decorations everywhere, the stores, the whole thing. But since Thanksgiving, is
Yeah.
something to do. Anyway, but we will not be meeting that week and then, but we will be meeting the week after that. So let's go around and introduce ourselves. We have a nice small group right now. Other people may join us as they do. I'm Susan Walker, formerly with University of Minnesota, with the parent and family education program. And now I'm sitting in the Landmark Center in downtown St. Paul. Uh,
Oh,
Isn't it lovely? Actually, this is my voting place in downtown St. Paul. So that's pretty nice after many, many years of um, elementary school gyms and whatnot. And Sarah, I will turn it over to you.
okay. I'm Sarah Alcock. I am a parent educator with the Burnsville Egan Savage District. I'm also been picking up home visits, which is uh, something that our district had not been doing since the pandemic, but we're starting to ramp that up again.
Awesome.
Lisa?
Yes, I'm Lisa Helgestad. I'm licensed as a parent educator and an early childhood teacher. I've worked in both capacities. Right now, I'm a teacher on special assignment, so I'm working as overall leadership support. So I support, do teacher mentoring, I do student support plans, professional development, things of that nature with the Osseo Area Early Childhood Family Education Program.
Which area?
Osseo.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
And I also lead our visiting. We are calling it ECFE visiting instead of home visiting because we can do phone consults, virtual community visits. So we just wanted to open it up so people didn't feel like it had to be in their home because we were finding that was a barrier for some families. So
Yep. And
Lisa,
like you, Lisa, go ahead.
Lisa, we have also changed it from home visits to parental support visits.
Mhm.
your parental support visits. Oh, okay, nice.
We're calling it caregiver coaching, or
Okay.
like I call it parent and caregiver coaching, so that it can include those grandparents if they're raising kiddos.
Hmm.
Oh, hi, I'm on the move. Ellen Hafner, parent educator, Northfield. I don't have any questions today. I just wanted to hop on and see my friends.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Mm.
I can just start to like kind of what I was talking about before we started recording. I did go to the DCYF, went to the DCYF open office hours, OOH. Oh. And it was great. We talked about surveys, parent surveys, and I know that Mi Yang will send out she'll send out a summary of the meeting. Um, so for anyone who's wanting that. But Lisa, what came out of it is we were talking like, how do you get parents to do it? Because a lot of people were saying no one does our survey. And I said, I make them do it in class. I do a QR code, I put it up on the TV. I have them bring their phones with them, but I make them do it right then and there on their phones. If they don't have a phone, I have an iPad. If I need a parent who needs an iPad and a phone, I hand them my phone. I log out of Google Docs or Google Forms. Um, and there was a parent educator there. She's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so smart. I've never thought to do that." And Eric Hansen was there, and he said that he did back in the day, he did paper and he would leave. He would leave the room. And I just said Google Forms are just they're anonymous. And because handwriting, pen color, right? Like none of those
Mhm.
things matter. And then making sure you're not asking questions you don't want answers to, or asking questions like, for instance, the one of the things was like, what changes would you like to see? Well, the problem is parents don't know what's developmentally appropriate for ECFE, so they'll be like, we would like a letter of the week. And
Mhm.
so if parents are giving suggestions and you're not taking those suggestions because they're not appropriate, then parents are like, well, why am I doing this survey? They don't ever take what I'm having to say into account. So, hi. Um, so yeah, and then it said, what do you do with the data? Like, do you actually change things? And so there was a little conversation about that. And then
Are
me
you
also
doing it?
had,
Sorry, do you do it at the
sorry.
end of class or do you do anything in the middle?
So we talked about that too. And some people like to do, like, I think Eric said they do 1 year long, like a whole year long class. And so he does like an end of season check-in. Um, I know I used to have staff who didn't want to do an evaluation. I was like, let's do an evaluation. And she was like, I don't really want to, which irked me because I kind of like to get the pulse on the groups. And actually now, my current co-teacher and I, we have to do teacher growth and development stuff, and we
Mhm.
have to survey our parents in a window of time. And the window of time to do that is kind of now. We kind of have to time it now, so that we can use that data for our stuff that's due in, I think, February. So I shared basically, I have 4 questions, like, um, how has your child grown this year because of ECFE? How have you as a parent grown or caregiver grown as an ECFE? What does the early childhood teacher do well, and what can she work on? What does Ellen do well, and what can she work on? So we take those pieces and then we have to write about them in our growth and development plan. So
And
not
then,
everybody would have to do that, but
okay, do you also get program data from families as well?
you mean in terms of like how they feel about, so say more.
Well, we've asked questions in the past, like uh, timing of like to help us in program planning
Oh,
type thing.
sure.
Like, are there other classes that you'd like to see, other locations that you'd like to see a class? Do you
Mhm.
feel like it's warm and welcoming in our environment, like bigger rather
Yeah,
than
you could totally, yeah. Some people ask those too. Some people ask those questions too, because they're looking like, what kind of a class would you like to see if they're building? We don't ask them here because we are locked into our schedule. If parents are like, we would like this class to start later, we can't do that, because if we start class later, then we can't have a second class.
yeah.
So again, it's not asking questions we can't do anything about. Like, did you like the time of the class? We also don't really ask if we're warm and welcoming, because I mean, this is our enrollment. We have 120. Like, I think we're doing a pretty good job of being warm and welcoming because we have a huge program with a waiting list. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So, I mean, not to toot our own horns or anything, but I think families enjoy coming because they keep signing up. But for programs growing, they may be like, would you like a toddler class? Would you like a baby class? What time would you like? You could totally ask those questions.
Mhm.
And people do. We just don't.
So we started 2 years ago, maybe. So we have a very open-ended midterm check that we do in classes that are at least 15 weeks. So 15 weeks or longer, or 14 if we have a 14 week. Um, and it's really open-ended. It's like something about what do you look forward to? What does your child look forward to? Is there anything you'd like to make sure we still get to in terms of like a topic or um, interaction time activities? And then at the end of the semester for the classes and so that one we do on paper because it's really for the teaching team. Um, but then we just ask if there's any information that parents provide that would be important for us to know as a program that then they would share that, widely with us. And then at the end of the semester, we have what we do with like a QR code as well. We have class time for them to complete it. We get multiple iPads. So parent educators didn't want to take time in the parent ed room. And it got hard because everybody was trying to be logged in and that was really overpowering the system and they were having a hard time getting booted out and whatever. So we pass around like 3 iPads during interaction time and they fill it out on a Google form, similar to what you were talking about, Ellen. And that one usually includes class specific information, but also some programmatic things. So like as a school district or across the district, we're working on warm and welcoming environments. And so that's something that we ask about. So anyway, that's kind of what we've been doing. But I do hear from the staff that they don't feel like they get a lot of good information that informs their making changes from that. So then it's like, well, how do we ask different questions that might get to something better? So that's kind of been our process.
Ellen, I'm glad that you were talking about, we ask these 4 questions, we don't ask this, right? And because I think of, and just, putting it out, I mean, I taught the evaluation course forever. And the main thing that strikes me about what you're saying, Ellen, is a thoughtfulness and intentionality, right? And so rather than just picking up a form or a survey that somebody else has done, or to continue using one that's been used forever, and especially, I would ask who's going to use this information in terms of staff wise. And then also from an administration point of view, what are they going to do with it? Right. And so, because sometimes administrators have evaluation data needs that the individual teacher doesn't. But if you let the administrator, ask the questions, you're not going to get to things that can affect your teaching or your classroom or your curriculum a lot of times, right? And they have, different needs. And so to get everybody as best as you can, together on really thoughtfully thinking about, what do we want to ask? What do we really want to ask? And especially, what are we going to do with the results? And that's kind of 2 things. And part of that is, like, Ellen, all 4 of your questions are open-ended, right? And so and how many parents do you have? Like a lot.
120. I
Yeah.
just get more information. They did talk about how sometimes the surveys, like on a scale of 1 to 3, like I don't like those surveys. They don't give you any. I mean, an open-ended question, you can get a mouthful, right? Like, I don't like it when you guys do this, right? So you have to be ready. You got to have thick skin.
Right.
But like a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, we liked it, we liked it, we liked it, we liked it, we liked it. Really? Is there nothing we can improve on? I don't like those. I don't like those questions.
No, and they're valuable. And this is like the difference between numeric data and word data, is like numeric data can be fine if you're looking for trends across classes, or you want to look at differences between a first year class versus, parents that have been coming for years and things like that. But you're right. There's that. I mean, part of the reason Eric left the room is all about bias, right? And so, Ellen, I would even say sometimes you're remaining in the room while parents are doing the stuff on the iPad could bias their responses, and not as much as the old days where,
I might leave now, actually. I
um,
might leave the room. I had never thought about that, but I might.
yeah, because they love you and they want to please you. But if they were alone and they knew it was anonymous, they might, they might say something a little bit different, whatever. But anyway, I think, and with the qualitative stuff, with the, open-ended questions, it's great, but it can also be kind of tedious. And there are, what I've been using for really long meeting notes and stuff is honestly things AI, because the great thing with that is you can feed in the responses like to a single question, and boom, 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 it's going to pop out the themes for you. And so it could be quick. So I wouldn't only use that, because it is really nice to read people's comments, and things like that. But my main thing, without getting into or continuing my lecture on evaluation, is just the intentionality. The intentionality is, what is it that you really want to ask? Have you been thoughtful about how you're asking the question? a lot of times questions are written in a very leading way, and you want an open-ended response, but it's asked in a way that's kind of a yes or no, and then that's useless. And your intentionality around not, a lot of times if parents are, like they'll comment about, oh, the thermostat is like too high in the winter month, it's just like, that's useless. Like you already know that you're a human being, you're in that room, if it's, too warm. So if, it's just that being really intentional about what questions do you really want to ask? And then after you get the information, are you going to meet together as a team to go over that? Are you going to go over it? Or is it reported back to parents, in some way? Do you think the parents even care? And so I think it's that second piece that too often we forget about is how we're going to make use of it. And uh yeah, and there's really creative ways that you can make use of the results. So yeah, I really commend you, Ellen, for being thoughtful about the questions. And a lot of times that does come from years and years of gathering assessment data only to go, well, this was useless. Like we didn't need that question because you want efficiency, right? So yeah. I'm glad they covered it. I'm glad they covered the topic. Did they, how about, so speaking of home visiting, did they talk about assessing home or doing an evaluation on home visiting?
No, that's what they're going to talk about in January, I think. But no, they didn't talk anything about. They talked about gathering assessments after a big event. Like, do you want more of these? And then this newer gal, I said use an event that draws families in and then have a question on like a survey. Did you have fun? What would you improve? Because if you're doing an event, sometimes improving is nice. And then at the end, say, if you'd like to be on our list about classes or special events, leave your phone number or an email. So you can start gathering people that way, especially if you're in a little district. I was talking to somebody in a small district in my area, and they pretty much lost all their staff. And so she came in and she's like, I feel like I'm starting from scratch and I have to find families. And I think sometimes you have to I think that's where data gathering is really important. If you're gathering new families and you don't know what they want, because sometimes the people leaving aren't great
Yeah.
and and they did things that families didn't like. And until they learn that you are going to turn things around, I think getting data from those families is really important as you try to rebuild a program. And so we talked about just, a quick little exit survey, and then to use that to get people. So no, we did not talk about evaluations outside of an ECFE thing, ECFE classes or a special event. So
Yeah. Yeah, and there again, that's being thoughtful, thinking of, boy, I'd like to use this information for marketing as well.
yes, yep,
Yeah. Um, did they mention about like using QR codes?
yep. We talked about that too.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, I then, that's being thoughtful about, going from paper to online to mobile, you know.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and anymore, a lot of those will just dump right into a spreadsheet, that
Yep.
how many people would you say were at, when you said, Ellen, there are people who attended who you hadn't met before. So without,
Mhm.
I don't name, we're not talking names.
I
Um,
couldn't anyway.
yeah.
There were probably 4 people there I didn't know.
Okay. How many
So
people?
6?
Good.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Can't really remember. And some people came on and then they left, and you know how it is. You're just popping on for a minute, but
Is it 1 hour, 90 minutes?
1 hour, 1 to 2.
Lisa or Sarah, have you attended these?
I've wanted to. They just have never quite
Work?
worked for my timing. One of my coworkers did attend the marketing toolkit session the week before and did share it with us. I don't know if he was able to attend the workshop yesterday, or the open office hours, I should say. I have a question for those who are doing home visiting or offering home visiting in whatever, by whatever name you call it. Um, do you We're looking at setting it up for you sign up for an up to 8 week commitment, and then you can sign up more again. Because not everyone feels like they need to keep going and going and going. It's not like early Head Start or that kind of thing. I'm just curious whether that's common. Is that, how do you do it?
Are you are you using anything like a planned curriculum with families, or is it individualized?
It is individualized.
Okay. So ours is as well. And what we've decided to do is um, we can initially do up to 6 visits. We don't we don't have them like re-enroll or anything, but if there's a reason to continue on, we can. Um, so for example, we're partnering with a homeless shelter in our school district, and so those visits we just continue until that family transitions to into something. So it's kind of like getting them connected to resources as well. So if it feels like it takes 6 visits to work through sleep or to work through a behavior issue or to get them connected to mental health services or whatever, that's kind of our ballpark. Really the idea was that we just didn't want it to go on for years if we were able to get them connected to something else. We do have a few families that are very isolated and don't have transportation, and so they really like that once a month check-in. And so it might be weekly with some families, it might be monthly with other, or bi-weekly. So it really varies.
Yeah. All right. One of the reasons why we changed the name, besides we want to make it more a little more appealing, but also a little bit more, a little less like CPS, um, because some families don't want to meet in their home. So we meet at the library, we meet at Starbucks, whatever. And we're I from what I've caught, we're hearing we're getting good feedback on that.
One of our visitors did a visit a couple weeks ago at the community pool while her child had swim lessons.
Oh,
They were visiting had
So
swim
smart.
lessons.
yeah.
So smart.
Wasn't planned. The mom forgot she had swim lessons, and so she's like, "Well, I'll just meet you there."
Talk about literally meeting families where they are.
Mhm.
Um, Sarah, I'm sorry. Can you I missed your question. My child texted me and I was
Oh,
parenting
no,
for
it's
10 seconds and I can't multitask.
I was just asking for how people set up home visits, as far as um do you set it up for a finite period of time?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That
I
kind
kind
of,
of gathered that.
yeah, okay.
My goal, we have Rice County is rich with home visiting.
Mm,
We have an incredible, our public health does the mesh program, the mother, oh gosh, I'm on the board. I should know what the mesh. We have Parent Child Plus,
hmm.
Families First. We have so many good home visiting things. They have curriculum, they're trained. So if I have a family with big needs or they're super isolated, like Lisa said, I send them to public health because they can double dip. Those families can get a visit from public health on Monday, and they can get a visit from Parent Child Plus on Thursday. Um, and so, but my goal always is to get them connected in ECFE. Always. I don't think I've ever done parent coaching or home visiting. The parent coaching that I do now is mostly via text or phone call or FaceTime. It's usually my child won't sleep, my child won't poop, I'm having trouble eating. I meet with them once or twice. Most of the time, after the third time, they blow me off, and I'm like, all right, fine. You know how to find me again. Um, but my goal is always to get them into a class with other families because I can sit there all day and talk about positive parenting and modeling, but they need to be in a space with other parents to see it. And they're higher risk. And so like what better way for them to what better way for them to lower their risks by having a village?
Right. Right. I'll be
And
right back.
again, yep, sometimes those families are, sometimes you get the families who don't really fit the mold, but you guys, sometimes I've got a mom right now. I've talked about this family before. It was my second year here, so it was probably 2017, and I had a family come because they were court ordered to come. And mom and dad both came, and they came with their kiddos, and it was kind of a hot mess. But they came every week. They came and they were receiving early intervention services. And then they graduated. Well, guess who got pregnant 5 years later? And she's back, right? And at first I was like, oh goodness, this family is back. She shows up every week. She puts on makeup. She puts in her teeth, right? Because her teeth were not great after years of meth use. Okay. She has completely turned around and she brings her little girl to class every single week. And everybody is so good to her. Like she could be one of those candidates where she just doesn't mix and mingle very well. She's obese. But I can just see how some classes would be not great for her, no matter what class she's been in. The toddler families, her age, um, they're just so good with her. And so she's like, I want to sign up with the families I've been with since the beginning. And I'm like, yeah, we can make that happen for you. So that's a perfect example of an at-risk family who was court ordered, didn't need that anymore. And I mean, life is still hard for them. Don't get me wrong. Life is still hard for them. But getting her in a group and it's kind of magical. She's kind of she's like my like Cinderella story of parents.
Your
So
poster child of this is this is how it's supposed to work.
100%. And get this, her little girl just turned 3 and she's on the spectrum. She was recently diagnosed. And when she turned 3, now she's in a classroom. She's in a classroom 3 days a week. So she comes to ECFE in the morning, and then her daughter goes to school, and then mom comes with us for parenting because she didn't want to not have the parenting time. I know. And all the parents were like, oh my gosh, she went to school today. And they were waving at her as we dropped her off in her classroom on the way. It's just so if we had just done like long-term home visiting, none of this stuff would have happened. So, okay, I'll stop. I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah. I have a mom who could end up in a similar story. When I first started doing visits with her, she had just moved into an apartment from a homeless shelter. Um, she had just gotten custody of her oldest back. And um and that was at the end of the school year last year. And she came to classes as she could this summer and as as she could in the fall. Her her oldest has been diagnosed now with autism. She's asking, whereas she was like, I don't want to think about it. She's now asking, are there classes with other families who have children with autism? I
Mhm.
want I want to find out how they're managing, how they're doing all of this.
Mhm.
And I know getting out of the house with these two little boys is hard as nails, but she, whenever she can, she gets out and she keeps my individual visits whenever she can.
Awesome.
Okay. Oh, I am. Oh, I am unmuted. It's a good thing I'm swearing. Um, um, I want to welcome Carissa. We've been on this meaty topic on home visiting arrangements and all of that. But I wanted to pause just for a second so you could introduce yourself.
I'm Carissa. I have a respiratory thing happening. I sound awful, but I actually don't really feel that. Don't feel that bad, although I cough a lot. But anyway, um, I'm Carissa, parent educator in Mounts View.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late and I haven't been able to be here, and I'm so excited to be here. There's been washer and dryer stuff. There's been sickness.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm happy to be back for at least half of it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Really glad that you're here. Is there anything that you would like to ask or talk about today, Carissa?
No, I don't really have anything super pressing.
Okay. Sorry, I was gonna sneeze. And then you do home visiting, don't you? Or you did?
I have in the past a little bit. I've never done a ton of it, and I have not done any at all since COVID.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll do some phone stuff like Ellen or video, although I don't do a ton of that. Phone or email stuff. But that seems to be falling away too. So I don't know. I think people just aren't like referring things to me so much as used to happen. And I probably need to do something about that, but I haven't really worked out what that is.
The other thing we were talking about earlier in the session was the uh of
Open office hours.
open office hours.
Okay, have people been going? I couldn't
I went
go.
yesterday. I went yesterday.
How was it, Ellen?
Good. We talked about evaluations. So, um, yeah, and like how do you use them and how do you question them? And I don't want to, do it all again for anybody watching this recording, but if you're getting those messages, you'll get a summary from
The
me.
report. Okay.
Yeah, Me
Okay.
Yang will send that out. So yeah, there won't be a recording. The open office hours aren't recorded
Okay.
for, so that people can speak freely.
Sure. Okay.
So I'm impressed by Ellen, and Sarah, you're talking about parent success stories. And, I think so often when people think of parents, or parents in ECFE or whatever, they may have a certain view or they have, and I think if there's any group of parents, I mean, all parents benefit from ECFE, but I particularly have my heart out for parents who need extra support, and parents who are so stressed in life that they, it's almost like life keeps happening to them in a way. And it's just like, my God, how are you even surviving? Right. Which makes me really glad that not only is ECFE there, but that they're at ECFE, because it could be so easy to just not go or to and I've heard from parents that will go, but my kid loves it so much, I just have to make the time, right? Or, something like that. And yeah, so for those of you who have the success stories of parents and you've really seen, some, is that documented anywhere? Because, again, keeping everything anonymous, but just sharing, stories like that for what I've often said to people about one of the things that I love about ECFE is that it is a consistent program like the public library. You may not visit the library, but you feel better knowing that it's there. because it's part of your community and you know that it's open to other people and that what you get from going to the library when you go, other people can do it. But it's that consistency of just that helps you feel like your community is stable, like your community offers things to people. Religious institutions can be like that, you know. I mean, just that feeling of what happens when the local grocery store closes and people start talking about, you know, food deserts and then you start realizing how much you've really missed it. And so I don't think we give enough value in our communities to things that are stable for us. And so I guess I'm just saying that, you know, for ECFE programs to be continuing in school districts, is that, you know, for the families that are highly, highly stressed, or maybe may not have children yet, but they have heard of ECFE or they know of ECFE, or maybe they went to ECFE years ago. If it's still there, it's like that sense of it's there when, right? And if I somehow get there from one way or the other, like this is going to be a good thing for me. So yeah, I would just, you know, as we're talking about evaluation, you know, I wish more of those stories were documented.
Well, and you can't, you know, you can't quantify the data. It's not a point on a graph or, you know what I mean? Like, I think we can collect those stories, which I think is really important for stakeholders. Like, if we needed to go, you know, to the legislature, if they were suddenly, Minnesota's going to suddenly cut funding, like, we would come out in droves, you know, to
Mhm.
say things like, oh my gosh, listen to this parent story. I mean, I could record them, but I don't, I should.
No, and don't take that as one more thing that I'm asking you all to
Oh,
do.
I know. Yeah. No, I know that for sure.
You know, I sort of have this value, to me, a valued spot of not being on the front lines, but always in support of ECFE and always a champion of ECFE and an advocate and sort of a bird's eye view of how do we get the word out there and other people who could benefit and things like that. So I'm not asking that you guys would do that. It's just I guess my desire that more of those really important stories about families, as
UIF is doing this. They are collecting the Story Club Collective, I think is what they're calling it, if you guys have heard about that. And there's a webinar on December 4th at 1 o'clock with more information. I believe they are hoping parent educators will collect some of that in January.
oh, Lisa, that is fabulous.
Okay, Lisa, was that an email that came from me, Yang, as well?
I think it was in the early learning services. I don't know that it came from me, but
Oh.
um,
I'm feeling like I'm missing stuff.
Lisa, if
Mm,
you have a
I
chance,
Can
can
you
look.
share that, Lisa?
could you
Yeah,
forward
I'm looking.
put it
that'd
in?
be great.
Yeah.
Because I think we
So,
all have those stories
Me shared
running
about it
around in our head.
didn't she? At the workshop. Sorry, I feel like she talked about it there, but I do have it in an email. Sorry, Sarah.
no, you're okay. I'm on their website too. Marketing toolkit, recording of session, technical assistance. Oh, there's also going to be a community of practice. Oh, here's some stuff on marketing, guys. I'm going to put this in the chat.
I did go to that marketing technical one of those
Yeah,
two they had. It was good. It looks like some good stuff. I haven't really looked through it on my own yet,
I
but
wish, yeah, I asked our coordinator. My coordinator sent me a message saying, "Hey, um, here's this toolkit." And I was like, "Hey, could we have some time in our PLC to use this? This is good stuff, especially if like the district isn't going to do anything for, although frankly, I don't know, we don't need any more families.
Well, you
We're
don't,
so full. We need to hire more staff. Like we're getting to a point where like if we are going to do more, we need, but who's going to work for like one? We just need like one more class a week, you know?
good.
I feel like that's where we're going to be next year too, where we could add one or two, but not enough to get somebody
Not
else
right.
in, and we're packed. those of it. You know.
Yep. I'm not seeing the story.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, yay.
It was on October 22nd. It was it was early learning services in October.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not getting those emails. Oh,
oh,
no.
I might not be either because
I
I
think
feel like it sounds vaguely familiar, like I heard me or someone talk about it at some point, but
I'm not.
I
I get
but
those forwarded
like
from my
it's happening in
director.
the future and there wasn't a lot of information yet. And
at the bottom you can request to get them.
Is it called early learning? What's it called? Early learning
Early
services?
learning services, October highlights and updates. I can forward it.
Oh, I got it. Here we go. Yes. No, I do not get this. I do not get this. All right. I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. Stories from the field.
Where are you now getting
I
Or-
went to an old email.
oh,
I mean, so from my coordinator that I'm going to now sign up for. So I'll get that. I'm getting that. Here we go. I got it, guys. Here we go. Putting it in the chat. Here's how you get on the mailing list. Ta-da!
Thank you.
HTTPS // I can't read the whole thing, but
Yeah, this one that is publicdelivery.com accounts.
yep, yep. So click on that and you can also get text messages. I don't want to do that, and then you have to enter in that you're a human.
Yep.
Okay. So now I will get that email. I cannot believe I haven't been getting it, but whatever. Now we will.
So I'm going to put in my address and see if they screen me out for some reason. But
yeah. So Ellen, where did you get the open hours information then? Is that
You're
coming
not,
in?
you're not, you're not getting that either. Isn't this
No,
crazy?
I
It
am.
comes right from Mi Yang.
Oh, I am, but maybe that's because of I thought it was just all the same list, but maybe that's from the parent
No, this was
educator.
a separate email. I'll forward
Okay.
this to you too, Lisa. Did
No,
anybody
I
else
have.
not get that? Oh,
I
okay.
have.
Yeah, because that one comes directly from me. And it says Mi Yang DCYF. That one, but this children, youth, and families one is a completely different, like it's a different listserv that I was not on. I've not been on. The only time I get it is when someone forwards it to me. I'm on it now. Now they can find me.
interesting. I just signed up for and it says you are subscribed to the following topics.
Oh,
Topic. Check to delete. So there's
oh yeah. I think it's not super robust, but at least now we've got the email. So
well, thanks. I'll add these links to the program notes or to
yeah, that'd be awesome if you could put that in the YouTube notes.
yeah.
Then other people can.
Like I said, what did I say at the beginning of this call? Like you can't assume that you put information out there one time and everybody's going to get it. You have to put it out there multiple times in multiple ways. So really reach your audience. So here
Yes.
we are part of those multiple ways. Oblige. Yeah, this is great. Good. Good. Yeah. Well, I hope I get those because I'd be interested to see what is going on. Yeah. So Chris, as I mentioned also at the beginning, so we won't be meeting next week because it's, Thanksgiving. But we will meet the week after that. And then if you guys would look at the calendars and sort of regard your own schedules, just in terms of how many Fridays to go into December before we take a pause and then when to begin again in January, that would be super helpful. Do a little bit of housekeeping while I have you all here. Where's my calendar? I guess I don't have.
I think we work 3 Fridays and then we're off and then we're back. We're off 2, we're back the beginning of January. So
All right, back on the 5th. So should we go through the 19th or go through the 12th?
19th, please.
Yeah, let's leave it open. And if people can't come, then like I probably won't come on the 19th because we have a family Christmas the day after. But that's, if it's there, we can pop on. And if no one shows up, then you can leave. I'm
Uh,
fine with that.
okay. Yeah, and just as a reminder, because the way that the Zoom thing is set up is even if I'm not there, the meetings can be held. But if I am not there, then the meetings cannot be recorded. So just that. Okay, so we'll go through the 19th and then looking into January. Should we start again on the 9th?
Sure.
Okay, so that's easy to remember. The
'Cause I
9th,
don't, no one, I don't think anybody's starting school no one's going back to school the 2nd of January.
right.
I'm gonna guess.
Okay. So let me put that down because I'll put that in my message too. Okay, so through December 19th and start again December, January 9th. Good. Okay, good. Thank you for that. That's helpful with a little bit of coordination. Good. All right. Okay, we've got about 7 minutes left. Anything else you guys want to talk about today? Questions, resources to share? Turn the camera off, vent.
Not for me.
We're good? Okay. All right, well, there's nothing wrong with our closing a little bit early. I say quality over quantity. So, well, good. Well, thank you all, everyone. Lisa, it was wonderful to have you visit. I hope you join us again.
Thank you.
Yeah. And my routine is that I take the recordings and then put them up on YouTube and then share the YouTube link. And then they are available for either you all to review or to share. And uh, see you again or whatever. So I'll be sending that out. You're on our Perfect Connections listserv, right, Lisa? Perfect. Good. Good. Okay. Well, then with that, I will say goodbye to everybody and hope you have a fabulous week and long holiday, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, friends.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.